Yeah. Hey everybody, it's Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. We're here. Listen, it may be May 1st, but it's Thanksgiving in our hearts because we're doing Survivor Series 93. Are you feeling the holiday season, brother?
Gobble gobble, yes. Thanksgiving in May. I love this. Survivor Series 1993. When I was a kid, I only watched the main event. I never got to see the full show, so this is my first time. And you've never seen this before. This is your
No,
first
I've
time
seen the
watching
show
it, right?
before.
Oh, you have.
I watched it. I bought the VHS tape when I got back in, and I watched it. Somewhere between 98 and
Oh,
2000.
okay. So you didn't watch it when it was happening. You watched it like 5 years later, pretty much.
Yeah. I did go back and watch a bunch of this shit after I got back in. This was one of the shows I rewatched. I don't remember it being as bad as it was.
So let me ask you a question about this because when for those of you guys who don't know, Ray was a giant Hulkamaniac,
Yeah,
and when Hulk Hogan left, he just stopped kind of watching.
yeah.
And you didn't watch. You missed a whole bunch of back. You actually missed a whole bunch of pay-per-views, or you refused to watch it because Hogan was
Oh,
gone. Right?
you couldn't get me to watch this.
Yeah. So what made you watch Survivor Series '93 though? In 1998, like late
Oh,
'90s?
I bought a bunch of VHS tapes. There was a
Oh, so
yeah,
just whatever happened, you happened to be able to find and buy. You say decided to watch
yeah,
it.
and I wanted to have all the Survivor Series and the Summer Slams because I had a box set of all the WrestleManias, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing when I first got back into wrestling. My mom bought that for me from the WWE WWE shop. And she surprised me with it. So I had at the time the all 13 WrestleManias. So I wanted, even though I would like I owned Survivor Series 91. I never watched it. I eventually sold it. But I wanted to just own all of them. So I got this and I did watch it in the late 90s, early 2000s, because it's like whatever. And I remember being like, oh, that wasn't that good, but I don't remember it being as bad as it actually is.
Yeah, I think it's probably it's a possibility because we've seen so much wrestling at this point now, right? In our lives, right? We're watching in our 40s and we how much think about how much wrestling we've watched. Maybe that's why it's not good.
No, I just think he you know what I keep going back to is Macho Man Randy Savage because it's pretty apparent he should be the top star of this company. And it's pretty apparent that he's a better worker than 90% of the roster. And Vince is just he's treated like an afterthought on this show. And everything that I see of this guy says he should not be an afterthought. He should be the star. And it's like Vince was just completely out of touch. He was just
Yeah.
completely out of touch. And
Also, this just
that's
wasn't a good pay-per-view to begin. Just in general.
this also had one of the worst WWE matches I've ever seen. This show.
Well, we'll get into it.
Mhm.
Survivor Series 1993, a Thanksgiving tradition. All
Thanksgiving.
Americans and the foreign fanatics wait for. So there were two different posters for this. One's was just the foreign fanatics, and one's with the All
There's
Americans.
actually four.
Four, okay,
There's one with Tatanka, and then there's
yeah,
one with Undertaker, and then
mm-hmm.
there's one with the Quebecers, and there's one with the Mountie and Crush.
Yes, I remember this actually because I remember originally when I saw this, the one was the Tatanka on it
I like the
with
Tatanka one better. The Undertaker sticks out.
yeah, because the one with the Tatanka, they got like the forks and everything, and they're
Yeah,
about
the
to eat the
Tatanka
fight.
looks like he's about to attack the
Yeah,
turkey.
he's about to attack this turkey that has a Yokozuna outfit on with the gear. I like that one too. I wish they had kept Tatanka in this lineup, but I get why they had to switch to Undertaker because it's just like Taker's just
I
like his
would
big.
have I would have taken out Rick Steiner and put in Undertaker because they don't do anything with Rick Steiner.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that, and I would have. Yeah, because I don't know, like
I
this
think
leather.
the reason why they take out Tatanka though is they want to establish Ludwig Vorga as a fucking threat. They were basically giving him the Brock Lesnar push. Like he pinned
Oh yeah,
I remember Tatanka's undefeated for almost 2 years at this
yeah,
point.
uh-huh.
And then fucking Ludwig Vorga pins him with one finger.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. I was so upset because I was really into Tatanka, and I remember like he had this undefeated streak, and they kept talking about it. And the fact that this fucking guy came and beat him in like it wasn't even a pay-per-view match. It was like on Superstars or some shit like that. And he beat him with one finger, and I was just like, this is a fucking
he never recovers from this, the Tonka. Ever.
No, he doesn't. No, he turned him heel.
I think if they pinned him, if he just pinned him like a regular guy and then took him out, it would have been the one finger thing is kind of like really insulting to Tatanka. Like it doesn't do it. And what also hurt is this guy takes off like in January.
Yeah, he disappears after.
So you wasted this undefeated streak on a fucking loser. But again, and this is why I blame Vince. Everyone knew this guy was a Nazi. Why did you think this guy could be pushed? You're a stubborn piece of shit. You're pushing him out.
You knew you had the SS on his.
Yeah, he's not hiding it.
So you started saying, "Hey, you got to wear fucking higher boots because we can't be fucking showing this."
But also are you gonna? Is this guy? What if this guy gets over like Stone Cold Steve Austin and then gets arrested for like a racial attack? Like, are you gonna fuck? Like, what? Why are you pushing this guy?
I know
it's not gonna work. He's a Nazi.
Yeah, because he's an idiot. Junior was an idiot. Anyway, Survivor Series takes place on November 24th at the Boston Gardens. 15,509 people are in attendance. It did 180,000 buys. Now, for comparison, guys, SummerSlam 1993, which is the pay-per-view before this, Survivor Series 1993, had 250,000. So it's a drop.
Down.
Yeah, Royal Rumble 1994, which is going to be the pay-per-view after this pay-per-view Survivor Series, is going to have 200,000 buys.
Goes down further.
Yeah, so basically Survivor Series is down from both of those, right? The ones before and afterwards. And if you're further comparison, Survivor Series 1992, the Survivor Series before this one, had 250,000 buys. Okay? And Survivor Series 1994 will have 254,000 buys. So this is a really low purchase pay-per-view.
I know why. Nobody gave a fuck about Lex Luger.
Yeah, nobody gave a fuck. So if you in summary,
here's the other thing.
Afterwards, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other thing that Vince mentions, and they sell out within an hour. He mentions that they sold the whole show out in an hour when tickets went on sale.
This one?
Yeah, this is what Vince says that when he starts the show. We sold the show. Now again, you could say it's not true. Here's the thing. These people start off white hot, and at the end of the night, I think they're ready to kill themselves.
Okay, and here's the thing too. That's attendance, but we're talking about pay-per-view buys. So yeah.
No, I'm talking about attendance. I'm saying that the crowd starts off like they're ready to go. They're excited to be there. And you can just tell at the end of the night they're like, this shit sucks.
Yeah, I can totally see. Yeah. All right, so we get a cold open for the show. It's Lex Luger and his family in front of a fireplace. It's his wife, Peggy. I don't know if do you remember this or not? I think it might have even been WWF magazine. But like when Lex Luger was doing this whole like, Made in America thing and everything, they made fun of his wife being Japanese. Do you remember this?
Or no, I wasn't buying the magazine.
Oh, okay. I think it was either in the magazine or it was like.
I have a good story about this in a second.
Yeah.
So Pritchard, he covered this podcast, this pay-per-view on his show. They had to film this for hours, like 6 or 7 hours, because Lex and the family couldn't get it right, and Lex and his wife got into a fight, and then Lex started yelling at his kids. And I don't know, and when you know that they were fighting the entire time and they were fucking it up, and Lex was like, "Why am I even doing this? Why the fuck does anyone give a fuck about my family? This is fucking stupid." And Bruce was like, "Because this is what Vince wants. So just shut the fuck up." You can tell, like, when you know that backstory, could you tell that they were miserable? Because they were fucking miserable.
I mean, I couldn't tell looking at this. This is like not even a minute long, right?
I know, but they did like 92. They did like an ungodly number of takes on this.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
And then the other thing, because the next day, Lex and a bunch of them have to be at the parade. I think it was this year. So Lex, maybe it was the next year. Whatever year it was, Lex was bitching and moaning. Now I got to go to New York. And they're like, well, we'll fly as soon as the parade's over, we're gonna fly all of you back home. Like, that's not the point. Why the fuck do we gotta go on this parade? And not knowing, dude, at the time, that's an honor to be in the Macy's Thanksgiving parade. It doesn't really mean anything right now. So I can understand like if Bianca Belair was like, why are we doing this? But like back then, that's a big deal, man.
I think he just maybe didn't like hanging out with his family.
No, he wanted to be with his family. He was complaining that he had to go to New York and stand on the float.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I have no idea. But anyways, in this open, his wife says like hello, his kids Brian and Lauren they both greet us and they just go, eh. It's literally not even a minute long. It's crazy. I could not tell they were angry because they all had smiles. So
I as soon as it hit, I remember that story,
it's
and
interesting knowing that backstory. 100%.
they're
Yeah.
all angry at one another.
Yeah. And they will eventually divorce. So it's not like, it was happy times there. They have some guy sing the national anthem. I don't know who he is, but it's pretty good.
It's not bad.
And as soon as he finishes, we get now the intro graphics. It's a wrecking ball at a Survivor Series construction site kind of thing. And that's what it is. Pretty cool graphics for the 90s. And Junior welcomes us, and he's with Bobby Heenan. And Junior points out that Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon are still doing that radio WWF. Here they
You
are in
know,
the booth.
nobody's ever been able to find the audio broadcast. Like no one recorded that. Can you believe no one recorded that? Put it on a VHS tape.
I can believe that because I feel like, like we just didn't have that foresight in the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, well,
You
it's
know,
funny
you,
because all Jim Ross's early '90s radio, but I guess the station themselves recorded that. But I wonder if anyone. I've never, on all my time on the internet and reading about wrestling, I've never heard of anyone who actually sat at home because there had to have been like some older fan who couldn't afford cable who
yeah,
listened to the radio broadcast. I wonder. I would like to know how that was.
yeah, I would like to know how that was too. Or maybe like if you're blind, right? So you're just like, well, I don't need to fucking pay for this. I could just listen to the radio, right? I
Yeah.
like Jim Ross better anyway,
But
right?
I wonder, like, if like they had to like because it's on I think it was on AM radio. I wonder if they had to like traffic like they had to stop for traffic reports. Just
Yeah, maybe or commercial. I don't know, but
yeah, because like if a match is like is half hour like if like that Bret Hart match is like fucking almost 40 minutes. Do they do like radio commercials in the middle? I don't know. I would love to listen to it.
and this will be the last pay per view they will do with WWF radio
No,
because
no,
they're
no.
only.
They do the next two.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Royal Rumble '94. They do the same thing. They swap out.
Oh, do
They
they?
don't
Okay.
swap out at WrestleMania 10, but Gorilla, I think it's Gorilla and Johnny Polo doing radio WWF. So it's 3 shows.
Oh, okay. I thought it was only 2, but all right, I could be wrong. All right. So, by the way, speaking of commentators, this is going to be Bobby Heenan's last one.
Yeah, then he goes to WCW, and that's where he stays.
This is his last live broadcast, as the stuff on Raw is pre-recorded, right?
Yeah, this is the last live show. I don't know if the Raw where he got thrown out was live the night of, but there might have been some live Raws he did because he leaves like at the very, very end of December. But this is the last pay-per-view. It's bittersweet. I wish he never left. I wish,
Yeah.
dude, I
I
wish.
actually listened to Bobby Heenan a couple of shoot interviews from like back when he was alive. I think
Oh,
after
not recently, and
no,
from
not recently. Actually, when I think it was after WCW folded, right? Like it's gone. And he said when at this pay per view, only a few people came up to him to like say goodbye to him because it was his last show, right? And he said one of the people who came up to him was Owen Hart, and he said it's a big this company's taking a big loss with you leaving.
it
And
was a big loss.
yeah, and he said it was really nice of Owen to say that. He was like, I didn't, that was so nice of Owen to say that.
Um, you know, I would have doubled. I would have said, what are they paying you? And I would have doubled it. I would have done whatever I could to keep him. He adds so much entertainment to even the worst shows.
Yeah, but from what he is saying, even that it wasn't just about money. That was the thing. It wasn't just about money. It was like moving to Connecticut and just to travel and stuff. I think he just was done with that shit.
Yeah, I know. You know what, dude? If you said to me like you get another chance at life, you're gonna go into a reality where Bobby Heenan is the stays on commentary in WWF until 2013, and then he retires, I would go into that reality because I think that would be such a better reality. Like I feel like all our lives would be
You
better.
mean like a parallel universe is like, by the
The big
way,
change is he that
Hitler,
never leaves.
by the way, the Nazis are in charge. They won the war, but Bobby Heenan will be on commentary at WWF
Dude,
all the way
Bob,
to 2013.
I feel like he even would have been good with like Michael Cole and JBL. Like I think he even would have added to that like Joey Styles. Like I think he would have worked great with everyone.
Possibly.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our first match. It is a Survivor Series style elimination match. We got IRS, Diesel, Rick the Model Martel, and Adam Bomb versus who comes out with Harvey Whippleman. They come out to Diesel's theme versus 1, 2, 3 Kid, Marty Jannetty, and Razor Ramon, who is the Intercontinental Champion. They all come out to their own theme, and Razor gets on the mic and he starts talking. He starts alluding to Mr. Perfect not showing up, and he introduces their tag team partner, Macho Man. Do you know the backstory behind this?
I think Perfect and Vince started not seeing eye to eye. I don't I used I it's kind of vague. What's insane to me is that Macho Man was not advertised as pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's insane. They would have
so
got more buys. I'm telling you that right now.
so the two pops they get that the biggest pops, there's a couple big pops, but when Razor Ramon and Macho Man walk out, it is like these are your top guys. Like these I also feel like he fucked up not giving. If Razor was in the position Luger was in, like if Razor body slammed Yokozuna, right? And not doing the All American, but like basically like he's Razor, but now he's like fighting
Yeah,
Yokozuna. And then he does the Royal Rumble thing with. I kind of feel like that also would have been good. Dude, Razor Ramon, man, drugs are a motherfucker. Because
I
this guy,
know, right?
if Razor Ramon, if this version, if like let's say we don't know who this guy is and we never met him before, and he steps out on AEW Dynamite tonight, as you know, looking at how he looked in '93, the company's on fire in like 20, like everyone on Twitter, but like, who is this fucking guy? This guy is like a star among stars. And man, he blew it. He fucking blew it, dude. He had it.
Yeah,
He could have been the top guy.
I think you could say like the same thing about like so many people. Like Jake Roberts is another one,
Oh,
right?
yeah, young Jake Roberts walks out on Dynamite tonight. Like, no,
Yeah,
but I'm saying Razor, like Tony Khan can do all this goofy bullshit. We haven't really got into that. The Young Bucks can do. Will Ospreay can fucking bang his head into a fucking wall, 90 miles an hour. But if Scott Hall was alive, right, same age as he is 93, walks out, just fight action and Andretti, everyone stops and pays attention, and the tide might turn. That's how good he is.
yeah. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do
Yeah.
drugs. All
But
right,
the
so
same thing. But the same thing can be said about Macho Man and we're getting to the ring work that Macho Man does in a bit. But when Macho Man walks out, it's like this is your guy, and this is your guy for like the next 8 years. Like, what are you doing making this guy a commentator? Like, it's almost to the thing of like I think like Vince, I'll just say it because who gives a fuck. Sometimes I feel like Caroline's was like punishing me, like fucking with me because they could fuck with me, even though I was good to them, right? Like they would
mhm.
just they knew like I wasn't gonna go, so they thought they could fuck with me. And even though I was like a great comic, I am a great comic, but I was a great comic. I was worth developing. I was also a hard worker, but they fucked with me just to fuck with me. I kind of feel like Vince is doing that to Macho Man right now. Like I could admit
I
you
think
are
so. I
still,
can see that. I can see him fucking with him. Yeah,
yeah, because
100%.
it's like why is this guy on commentary? Makes no fucking sense to me, dude. It's like putting Cody Rhodes on commentary right now. It's like having him lose the belt to AJ Styles and becomes a commentator on fucking Monday.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I mean, Junior's whatever. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Let's get into this match. Razor Ramon and Rick Martel, they start off, but Razor Ramon is just way too much for Martel, so he tags in Adam Bomb. And Razor covers Adam Bomb after a suplex, but Martel comes in and drops an elbow on Razor, who moves out of the way. So he ends up hitting the elbow drop on his partner, Adam Bomb, instead. And this brings in Harvey Whippleman, who's the manager of Adam Bomb, and he gets in Martel's face. So he gets decked, which makes Adam Bomb mad at Martel and decks Martel, and gets in Adam's Bomb face. And IRS, he is the captain of his team. He has to calm everybody down. He's just like, everybody.
That was a good sequence.
Yes, it was showing that there is no cohesiveness in this team of bad guys. Everybody is just like out for themselves, looking out for number one, and it was very good sequence. Yeah. Um, Finally, the 1-2-3 Kid gets in there with Adam Bomb, who just manhandles him. He is manhandled by both Adam Bomb and Diesel. Savage tags in and he cleans house, and then he drops an elbow on Diesel to eliminate him first. I was very surprised by that.
Well, I think again, I would say fucking with you. I think Vince, this was a test to Kevin Nash. Be like, you're gonna be the first one out. I think when Kevin Nash laid down and basically jobbed, I think Vince was like, okay, you can play ball. I'm gonna start pushing you. Because the next pay-per-view, they make him the man. They give him, he had the most eliminations for like 10 years.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, it was like a test to see, like, hey, is this guy willing to be professional, right?
Yeah. And can I trust this guy? And Kevin Nash, and also, but you know what? Like, watching this, Nash isn't there yet. He doesn't have it. He's not the Kevin Nash we all know and love. He's still very green, and honestly, at this point, he should be laying down for elbow drops. Like, he needs to learn. He needs to get better. And it was a good first elimination because it's surprising. And he's the biggest guy, and he gets eliminated. It was good.
Yeah. So Rick Martel gets into it with Savage after Diesel's eliminated, and then he tags in IRS, and we get the Irwin chance. Martel throws a knee at Razor when he's running the ropes, and the beatdown begins on the good guys. As we mentioned, this is Bobby Heenan's last pay-per-view, and during this match, I feel like he's getting some shots in at Junior on commentary, because there was a time where they're talking, and he turns to Vince McMahon and he goes, "Did you ever cheat on anyone? Right? Did you ever cheat anyone? Do you remember that?" And like Junior just goes, what?" Like, remember, Junior is on trial during this part, or he's getting ready to go on trial, and he just goes like, "Did you ever cheat anybody?"
And they confirmed in the trial that he was fucking his assistant, by the way.
Yeah.
So Bobby Heenan knows that.
Yeah, and then he also goes, "Hey, do you want to be president of WWF?" Like, he actually asked Vince McMahon this. So I know he's just like fucking.
You know what I learned, and I can't believe it took me this many years to learn? When Vince McMahon wants you to move on, or he's like doesn't think what you're saying is funny, you know what he says? Have you ever picked up what he says on commentary? If he wants you to, like, he's like over it.
What?
I see. And I think that's code for change the fucking subject, or I'm not feeling this, do something else.
Yeah, I can see that.
I see.
Huge ant in my house.
And Vince sent it. He heard us talking about him fucking his assistant back.
Yeah, Vince sent the giant ant. Oh, that scared the heck out of me. It's a big bullet ant. I hope there's no more. All right. So Savage is in the ring, and Crush. While Savage is in the ring, Crush comes out because these guys are kind of in a feud. And Savage, he has his eyes on Crush, who's in the aisleway, and this distraction allows IRS to roll up Savage from behind for a second elimination.
Savage getting rolled up by IRS. Give me a fucking break. And the crowd is like, what? Really?
Yeah, but IRS is the captain of it.
IRS is the captain of nothing. He's the fucking captain of lunchroom.
I liked IRS. I was a big fan of IRS.
Listen.
Marty Jannetty
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right. Marty Jannetty comes in and he gets worked over, but Razor Ramon hits the Razor's edge on IRS, the team captain, for the third elimination.
Okay, what a captain.
Yeah. Everyone gets in the ring at once, causing the ref some confusion. While the ref is distracted, this allows IRS to hit Razor with the steel briefcase that he has. I used to hate this briefcase. I was like, just gave this briefcase for the game changer. You use it once, it's always like knocking somebody out.
Yeah.
And Razor, after he gets hit with the briefcase, he kind of rolls out the ring and he's just in La La Land, and he gets counted out for the fourth elimination. Um, Somewhere in this, it caused IRS to start bleeding from the eye. So he's like cutting the eye. But yeah,
Maybe
Razor Ramon is out.
you know what? That wasn't a cut. That was a tease for Bo Dallas's debut at
Yeah.
Backlash. They were already setting it up back then.
All right. So the 1-2-3 Kid, he hits a sunset flip cover on Rick Martel for the fifth elimination, and then Marty Jannetty hits his own sunset flip cover on Adam Bomb immediately after Rick Martel getting eliminated. So to eliminate Adam Bomb for the final elimination just came out of nowhere. So the survivors are 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty. What the hell?
And they win the tag titles shortly after and then drop them. So they were pushing these guys a little bit. Best match on the show. Everyone here, a lot of star power, a lot of great workers. Even Adam Bomb was pretty good. The greenest guy was Diesel, but he did the right thing. He worked with Savage and put Savage over in the middle. I thought this was a great start to the show and a great match, and it all downhill from here.
This was a fun way to start the show 100%. I don't know. There is another match later on that I do enjoy. And we'll get into
there is another match later on that I also enjoy, but I thought this was the best one.
Yeah, it was a fun way to start, definitely. Mm-hmm. Todd Pettengill, he's with Shawn Michaels, HBK, and Todd calls him the former Intercontinental Champion, and HBK is like, whoa, let me correct you. I still got the belt. I still got the hardware. So he's claiming to still be the IC champion. And then Todd brings up Bret Hart. He shows footage of Ray Combs, the Family Feud, the host of Family Feud, talking with all the Harts. And he is with all the Hart brothers because they're going to be in a match tonight. And they're also with Stu Hart. And you know what I noticed when I'm watching this? Bret is so much taller than every single one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, than all the brothers. Okay,
yeah. Bret is bigger and taller than not just Owen, but like Russ and Bruce and whatever fuck, all their fucking names, whatever the fuck they are, right? And I was like,
Keith and Bruce.
What?
Keith, Owen,
and Bruce. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is the only guy who could have been a superstar. They're all fucking small.
I mean, Keith looks so out of place. I mean,
yeah. No, Bruce. What's his name? Bruce does too.
I know they look like fucking.
Yeah.
They look like guys who own a bar.
Yeah. Bret does cut a good promo about how his family has had enough of this crap, and they don't care about the Knights. They don't care about Shawn Michaels. We turn back to Shawn Michaels, who laughs at him. He makes fun of all of them. He makes fun of every single one of them, calling their professions, school teacher and the fireman and all that. Good promo by Shawn Michaels, in my opinion. What did you think about this dueling promo kind
of? Interesting. But this was supposed to be Jerry Lawler in this match, and then he got.
It was supposed to be Jerry Lawler. What happened?
He got accused of either sleeping or inappropriately touching a 12 to 14-year-old.
Yeah, he was accused of statutory rape.
Yeah, but
sex with a young girl.
He eventually took back the accusation, and he was back. And back in the 90s, you could be accused of fucking a 12-year-old, and there was no Twitter to keep harping about it, so it was just forgotten. The weird thing, and the other thing to mention is Shawn Michaels stormed off. He was no longer. He was trying to get out of his contract right before the Jerry Lawler thing happens. So they have to kind of like awkwardly shove Shawn Michaels into this angle just to have this match. And it's weird. It's weird because the whole thing is building to Jerry Lawler fighting the family, and now suddenly you have Shawn Michaels. So it's very strange.
Supposedly, I was reading about this. Shawn Michaels was like accused of taking steroids or something like that.
He failed a drug test. He said he didn't take any drugs, and that's also at the same time. I think I told you this before. A fan died and left him his entire estate. It was a wealthy fan, like an old gay man who lived alone in Texas. He gave him everything, and so Vince.
Wait. An old gay fan of Shawn Michaels left Shawn Michaels everything.
Everything. He got into millions at the same day that Vince is fucking with him, and he tells Vince, "I don't need your shit." He says that he said to Vince, "You sit." This is what Bruce Pritchard said. "You sit in your ivory tower. You think you control our lives. You're not going to control my life. I'm going to be sitting at home. Go fuck yourself." And he went back home and he had that fuck you money, so he could say that to Vince.
That's amazing.
And
Wow.
he said, "You don't suspend me because I'm not coming in and I'm not giving you the belt. So fuck that." And then I don't know if Jerry Lawler doesn't bang the 12-year-old allegedly. I don't know if things patch up between Shawn and Vince because then Vince was in a pickle, so he had to like make up with Shawn. But also because Shawn did that, it leads to the great ladder match that changes everyone's life.
Well, I wonder what Vince had to do to get him to come back.
I think Vince respected that. That like you don't you can't suspend me because I don't fuck you. I'm just gonna sit at home. I think Vince kind of likes it when you do that.
Yeah, because he shows that you have a backbone.
Yeah, it's like
You know what? Everybody respects people, even if you get in an argument with them. You respect somebody with a backbone. I always do.
people don't know how to do this. Like when you decide not to engage with the person, you're just like, no, I'm done with you. Goodbye. I like you don't get to win this because I'm out. And I think people like I think he explained, oh no, it's been my dream to be in the WWF and I just love being here and anything can happen and I just want to do make a wish. Instead, it's like, you're wrong. I didn't take that drug. I'm going home. You're not getting your belt back. Suck my cock. You know?
Yeah.
Um, I didn't read Becky Lynch's books, but there's a lot of like apparently I saw one passage where Vince yells at her and she apologizes and like Vince yells at her for stupid shit and she just thinks it's so cool because like when he yells at you it sounds just like it did in like he when he was on TV in 2003 and I'm like that's so fucking sad. Like so fucking sad. And I think that's everyone now. And I think
Yeah,
Vince
I can see it being everyone now. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, Shawn wasn't playing that back in '93, and I think that's what led to Shawn. I am convinced Vince falls in love with Shawn around '94, '95. Like he falls in love with him, and when we get into some of the pay per views, listen to how Vince talks about him. It sounds like how I talk about girls I have a crush on, and I think this starts to crush that he was like, I'm not playing your fucking game. We're playing.
I think also like back then there were more wrestlers like Sean, like who just like I'm not taking your shit,
Yeah,
right? Like because like like Dave Schultz and all that, but like I don't think there's a lot of wrestlers like that anymore. You're right. Like now, I don't even think just in WWE. I think in like
yeah. I think like if like in AEW if fucking I don't know if fucking like they were like to one of the acclaimed, oh, we found drugs in your system, and they knew they didn't take the drugs. They'd be like, oh, well, I didn't take drugs, but I guess if you found it, I'm so sorry. I'll sit at home. It's been my dream to be a wrestler. Oh,
yeah, I feel like they would be like that. I honestly do. I think like they would, right?
yeah. But also, we have to understand if the fan didn't leave this guy, but again, that's never been like he's never said it. That's the big rumor. But like a lot of people have said this rumor, and Bruce Pritchard basically said, yeah, he got money from someone. If you didn't have this money, you don't have that confidence to be like,
Exactly. If you don't have this money, you don't have this confidence. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So, Ray Combs,
Oh,
the host of Family Feud, he's in the ring, and he shouts out the entire Hart family because they're all on ringside. Like Helen, the mom, and the sisters, they're all there. And then Ray Combs talks about Shawn Michaels, and people start booing at his bad Shawn Michaels' dumb joke. He does like this Shawn Michaels' dumb joke, and people are just like, "Boo!"
dude,
It is bad,
he's
but
really bad.
no, I disagree. I am gonna disagree. He's not as Remember, he did it like last year when he introduced the heel team and he did the
Yeah.
surveys and that went off pretty well. This Shawn Michaels joke was bad, but then he tells a Shawn Michaels mom is a Bigfoot joke, and people do laugh at that, right?
I just thought like he felt very desperate, very like, please love me. He felt like a cop.
Okay, yeah, okay. Because after that, he does tell another Shawn Michaels dad joke, and
He,
that one also falls flat.
um,
So
I don't know. It just I kind of felt like,
remember, I'm sure he's not even writing these.
dude,
Somebody's writing and give it
I
to him.
used to when I was a kid, I loved him, and I for years was like, oh, he's the best Family Feud. I still don't watch Family Feud, but I used to watch it when he was the host. I really liked him.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Back
Yeah.
looking back, I'm like, he was a little weird. Like, you can't find those episodes because he hung himself. You can't find those episodes anywhere.
Yeah. So this is match number 2. Shawn Michaels with the Blue Knight, the Red Knight, and the White Knight. These knights are Greg the Hammer Valentine is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Horowitz is one of them. And the third knight is Jeff Gaylord, who will go on to rob 2 banks and then go to jail
The
for a
same
while.
night. You know who?
Yeah.
You know who one of the other nights was supposed to be? It was supposed to be Terry Funk.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Terry Funk, but it
The
ended up being
idea
Jeff Gaylord.
was the idea was Jerry Lawler would have 3 legends as his knights. Greg Valentine, Terry Funk, and I forget who the other one was supposed to be. And Bret Hart would unmask them one by one. And it'd be like, oh my god, like look at all these legends that Jerry Lawler recruited. And
Wow, that would have been dope, actually.
yeah, but I but this is not a good match. This
No. Jeff Gaylord's like the younger, taller one in that group. But anyway, he ends up robbing some banks, going through smart time, and went to jail. He actually was in 2023, just last year. He was found dead at a bus stop.
oh, that's
He was
good.
most likely homeless. He was 64 years old.
You know, the
Um,
rumor was he rewatched this match and then shot himself at the bus.
yeah.
He was like,
Anyways, we're gonna try to remember in better times by this match. Shawn Michaels, he starts by taunting the Hart family at ringside, and Ray Combs is desperately trying to get Shawn Michaels back in the ring for some reason. He's like, "Shawn, come back to the ring." I don't know why, but he just is so
I
desperate to get him
think
back
so.
in
I
the
think
ring.
the way they laid out this match, they basically pretended Sean was Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Keith, Bruce, Owen, and Brett and Stu, they walk and they'll come out and Stu walking very gingerly to the ring. And Ray Combs joins commentary as Heenan starts joking around with Ray about the Hearts. I will say this: Ray Combs was good on commentary. He was.
Bobby Heenan has the funniest line. Was like,
Not a wrestler or not in the wrestling business, he was pretty good. You gotta admit.
yeah. Well, but Bobby Heenan has a really funny line because I think Vince says Helen Hart had 9 children, and Bobby Heenan goes, "Why don't you just buy a TV?" Instead of like 9 children, like just buy a TV. If you're that bored, buy a TV.
Yeah, and what's gonna be good during this match is Bobby Heenan and Ray Combs actually they work kind of well together. You know, they do well. I thought Ray Combs was good on commentary. For somebody who is not from wrestling, he held his own.
Can you imagine if Bobby Heenan had a podcast with Conrad right now?
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyways, Owen Hart and Shawn Michaels starts, but Shawn Michaels, he wants Bruce. He goes like, I want Bruce. So Bruce gets in there, but Bruce actually can hold his own. Keith does well too. By the way, they do mention that Bruce is a substitute teacher and Keith is a fireman. So these guys are both like,
And
even though,
Owen wanted to retire and be a fireman before Vince murdered him. So
yeah, yeah. And they will mention on commentary that both men, Bruce and Keith, they have both been retired from wrestling for at least a year each, right? Some, I think Keith even more, but they're kind of holding their own. I gotta give them credit for that. So Brett gets in there with the Blue Knight, who is Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Knights but eventually the Knights get all the heat on Bruce. They start beating on Bruce. Everyone gets in the ring at once, and they do a 4-way meeting of the minds. And then the Black Knight eats a missile drop kick from Owen Hart to get eliminated first. Bobby Heenan tells a really funny Stu Hart joke at this point. He's like, Stu's yelling, and Bobby Heenan goes, he's yelling at Helen, saying, Helen, I'm damp.
you know what I like the fact that the Hearts were so cool with like them shitting on the parents.
Yeah, yeah.
All the jokes about Stu and Helen are really fun. They hold up. They're really really funny.
I forget where it is, but I think I read or heard that Stu and Helen did like it themselves.
Yeah,
because they said it felt like, hey, we're becoming part of it. Like we're not just in the sidelines, we're part of the fucking, like they're, because they get to be shitted on.
Yeah.
they get to be like in on the act. Like
Yeah.
they're prominent. They're not just like in the fucking background. So that's what I heard, but that's just funny.
Well,
Hell
you know,
of
people like to say how uptight Bret Hart is, and he takes the business so seriously. It's like if he was really that uptight, he wouldn't just let like the whole company shit on his parents. Like for
yeah,
years, they just
absolutely.
shit on them, and like he clearly like doesn't take himself that seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good, but
Um,
it's really fun. You know what's also sometimes the Stu looks so lost, and then Bobby Heenan or like Jerry Lawler sing, and it adds like it makes it even funnier.
yeah, yeah, definitely does. Um, Once again, the Knights and Shawn Michaels they start putting up the heat. This time on Keith, working on his left arm. Bret tags in and he puts the sharpshooter on the Red Knight to tap him out for the second elimination.
Thank God.
The Blue Knight attacks Bret Hart right away, and Bret gets sent outside, and now it's Bret's turn to get beat on. Bobby Heenan says the Hart family is the America's Most Wanted. It's like the America's Most Wanted, like the TV show. He said, yeah, here's what he said. The Hart family is like a family you would see on America's Most Wanted. And Ray Combs shoots back, well, your family is like America's Most Unwanted. And I was like, oh, that was sharp, man. I'm telling you, Ray Combs is good. You know, he's like right after that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
when he said that, Bobby Heenan had no comeback. You know that?
Great.
Yeah. And Shawn Jr. just laughed at it because it was good. It was a good comeback. So HBK he slides outside and he gets into it with Stu Hart for a little bit, and then who even gives Shawn Michaels a shot. Boom, hits him. So Stu's getting involved in a little bit too. Owen bulldogs and sharpshooter. Puts a sharpshooter on the Blue Knight for the third elimination. So Owen has two eliminations in this match, and Shawn Michaels is left all alone
All
against all
alone.
four Hart brothers. Bret's in there with Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels gets he hits Bret in the eye. So Bret has to fucking tag Owen because he's blinded. And Bret is like, as he's blinded, he's walking the apron trying to get back to his corner when Owen, who's running the ropes, collides with Bret and sends Bret flying into the rails. And this distraction allows Shawn Michaels to roll up Owen Hart for the first and only Hart family elimination.
Yep.
As soon as he's eliminated, Owen is pissed off. He's angry with Bret. As everyone starts going to check up on Bret, and Bret did, to his credit, take a hard fall into the rail, the metal rail. But Bret's like, but Owen's yelling, he's angry. And Shawn Michaels, he has to fight off all three Hart brothers, and he decides, you know what, enough of this, and he leaves, and he loses by countout, so the three Hart brothers win.
Mm-hmm.
As they're celebrating, Owen starts calling back down. And he yanks Bret off the corner as he's celebrating, and he starts arguing about how Bret cost him. And he's shoving Bret, and people are just booing this. And they cut to Helen Hart. She looks sad and she starts crying. And Owen's trying to like pose and like as a winner, and people are just booing it. And then as he's leaving the ring, Todd tries to talk to Owen, who doesn't want to talk. And he goes, "This was great." And Bret was leaving. He looked like dejected. This was great work, but by my opinion, by Bret and Owen. What did you think about this?
Okay, the match itself atrocious. It was horrible. It was pretty clear that whatever they planned out for Jerry Lawler and his limited skill set, they just copied and pasted and had Shawn Michaels acted out. Right. The
I
match
can see
was
that. Yeah.
one of the most boring fucking matches I've ever seen. The match doesn't matter. Jerry Lawler doesn't matter. Whoever it was that was in Jerry Lawler's place could have been Kamal, right? None of that matters. What matters, this match was a means to an end. It did two things. The first thing, WWE killed time, and then it set up the main angle for WrestleMania, which was Owen versus Bret. And when they get to the angle part, it's very well done. And that's really what it's there for. I realize like this is not here to have a good match. This is here to set up WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine, but to get to that moment is fucking torturous.
And this is the first time they show conflict between Bret and Owen, right?
Yeah, I think like it kind of slowly started at SummerSlam, like when Jerry Lawler like attacked Owen. I think like Owen made illusions, like why does he think he can attack me? You know what I mean? So I think like there was some stuff that was like bubbling over, but like this is where it really like just starts building. Yeah.
Yeah. And when this happens and you see the crowd and they see how Owen gets in Brett's face, you can see like people are like, what the fuck? Like it really there was a point where I can tell some people thought that was off script. Like
Yeah.
at this point in 1993, people know wrestling is fake. But when this was happening, I could tell some of them were like, wait, is this really like is this real
Well,
or is this fake?
well,
You
I
know?
remember when they were pushing Owen, I was like, I heard about it. I'm like, what's gonna like I was like, oh, he's just gonna lose at WrestleMania and then and they'll probably send him away. Because like they kind of beat in my head that they don't see anything in Owen, right? I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember, but like they I didn't really think they saw anything in Owen. And then like Owen wins and Owen gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until he's one of the top stars of the company. And I think at the time people don't they're not expecting Vince to get behind Owen like he does,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's I can see people being surprised because like, oh, I thought this guy was like he was like Brett's jobber brother. And now he's
Yeah.
like
But I think also seeing like this guy who's a brother just yelling at
he
his
had
brother's
really no
son.
character. He was just like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, for years he did nothing. So
Yeah, people were into this. They were not happy that Owen got in Brett's face. They were definitely booing.
yeah.
So after this,
Wait,
Junior
one
throws.
second. 1 second, Andrew Lee, bro. All right, bro.
All right. So then after that match, Vince McMahon Jr. he throws it to Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon and say, "Hey, we're gonna switch booths with the WWF radio guys." And Gorilla Monsoon he feigns like he's gonna punch Bobby Heenan in the face,
Yeah, they don't like
and
each other.
Bobby. I like this little interaction between the crowd liked it too. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun times.
Yeah. So Jim Ross and Jr. they're now on commentary and
Jim,
they
you mean Jim Ross and
recap.
Gorilla? Gorilla.
I'm sorry, Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon they're on commentary and they recap the feud between the foreign fanatics and the All Americans. They show Tatanka, as we talked about, losing his undefeated streak to Ludwig Borga, and after that match, Yokozuna squashing him on the side and the ribs. I thought that part was very well done. You know how like instead of him laying down flat, they turned him to the side and had Yoko sit on it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
And the All Americans after this, they also recap where All Americans had to find another partner, and it's Undertaker with the fucking stupid ass American flag underneath his coat thing. When I heard about this, I thought that was the dumbest fucking thing.
Oh
Like,
yeah, Undertaker didn't like it either. He was supposed to bring it to Survivor Series, and he said his dog ate it.
he said his dog ate
Yeah.
it. When I didn't see that, right? So I didn't see that happen. Someone, but I was legit like I remember at this age, I was legit concerned, like, oh no, who's gonna be their tag team partner? I swear, right? And then some kid at school told me it's the Undertaker, and I was like, the Undertaker, because it didn't dawn on me that he's American. You know, I just thought
Yeah,
he was like a
he's from the
demon.
other. He's from the other world.
Yeah, yeah. But then I was like, "What? No, I don't believe you. No, you're making that up, guys." I was like, I didn't believe him. I said, "You're making that." Up. No, he like he opened up his coat and there was an American flag, and I
Yeah, my
was like,
friend told me that too.
"Yeah." I was like, "This kid's making this up." That sounds like the stupidest thing. And now that I just the first time I saw it, it is really stupid.
He looks mortified that he's doing that.
Yeah, it's dumb. This is the you know this was the first time I saw that, and it was really dumb. It's
Oh
really
wow. I okay. Yeah, yeah. It's really
yeah.
yeah.
No, because I've seen
Undertaker like
pictures of it. I've seen pictures of it, but it's the first time I saw like the actual unveil, right?
yeah.
Where he's like, oh, and it's like, oh, this looks so fucking stupid. I gotta listen to his podcast where he talks about that. I gotta
Well, no, Bruce Pritchard talked about it. That
no, but
like
I
he
want to
gets
hear
the Survivor
Undertaker talk
Series.
about
Oh, he talks. Oh, he does. Undertaker does.
it. No, Undertaker has his own podcast now. I want to hear him talk about it. You
Yeah, I
know?
hope he does talk about it. Well, yeah, but apparently, like he showed up and Vince is like, "Where's that jacket?" And he's like, "Oh, my dog. The dog ate it." He goes, "The dog just ate the inside of the jacket." He goes, "Yeah, it's a smart dog."
You're telling me that your dog ate the whole fucking jacket? Yeah, I don't. It happens.
Yeah. No. He said the dog because it was in the inside of the jacket. He showed up and the inside of the jacket is just black. He's like, "Yeah, the dog ate the inside of the jacket." Like It's a really smart dog.
That's so funny. Oh, that is really funny. Where's that American fucking flag in your? He must have been so annoyed. He must have been like, "Fuck, we just gotta do this fucking show." They also recap Lex Luger versus Pierre of the Quebecers, and Lex Luger knocking him out, leading to Jim Cornette having to bring in another member on the team who's going to be Crush, Evil Crush, with
Evil.
the fucking face paint. I hated Evil Crush. It was so lame.
I've never really seen too much of Evil Crush. I didn't like the way he looked. My friend though did say the angles and the interviews. My friend who was still watching at the time, he said the angles and interviews between Crush and Macho Man were pretty good. That's what he
You
did.
know, I didn't like it. It was just like, all right, so you put on face paint and now you're a bad guy. It just was so stupid.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it just, yeah, it was he sucked. Yeah,
I've
Chris.
never seen somebody go from like face to heel like that, where it's like to signify that I'm a bad guy. Now I wear face paint, like you know
Yeah, and
what
I
I'm
just
saying?
wear like this one thing on my cheek.
Yeah, to me that sounds very like it just sounds. Um,
Mhm.
Anyways, this is before we get to this match, we're gonna go to match number 3. Jim Cornette comes out to give the introduction to the Heavenly Bodies because it's gonna be a Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Title match. Huh? That's it. It's very weird. I get it, but the point of why this is happening is Smoky Mountain Wrestling at this point. They are a regional promotion, kind of like a territory, but they are able to work with both WCW and WWF.
I think at this point they're more with WWF.
At this point, they're more with WWF, but they did work with WCW just a little bit before. And part of the deal is that they can kind of have these kind of matches on it. So it is Heavenly Bodies versus the Rock and Roll Express, who are the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions. And they start fighting from Jump Street, and the Rock and Roll Express is able to fight them all off to no reaction at all, which was
Dude,
gonna be the theme of the night for
when
this
they
match.
walk out, all you ever hear from the fucking, and they were getting good reactions in the NWA shows. They were so over. Everyone loved them. They're the greatest. They're legends. Da, 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 da. These guys have been around now for like 12 years. When they walk out on this WWF show, it is like two fucking losers from an armory walked out. They get no reaction. Zero
Mhm.
pop. And I was shocked. Like that they got no pop. But like it just goes to show you this whole like this Southern wrestling, this NWA, it wasn't that over.
I think also people have to realize now it's been about like 10 years or like close, right?
Yeah, they have the
And I
stench of
think
failure on them now.
yeah, and there's also now a whole crop of fans who own wrestling fans who only just been watching WWF,
Yeah.
right? So they don't know there's no internet, right? They're not following WCW, they're not watching NWA, they're just watching WWF,
Dude,
right?
the first time they're like a legit act in a company I'm following was in 1998 when they came in briefly to WWF. That was the first time like I'm watching a show and they were not like they were never around anything I was watching in the 80s and 90s.
The rock and roll.
Yeah, yeah. Like they when I was watching WCW, they weren't around. Obviously, 80s WWF, they're not around, but like I would just hear about them in magazines. And
Yeah, yeah, the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, they were when we watched it, they were on every pay per view. But then once it starts going WCW, they're not around. You know?
no, and then Ricky Morton does himself no favors. And
No, yeah, when he's in the fucking yeah, what was that? The York Foundation.
Richard Morton, New York, and he's still dressed the same.
Yeah, Richard Morton, same hairdo, same everything. Yeah. Um. So there's not like so the majority of this match are not gonna get any reaction, but doesn't mean that there isn't any reactions. They do this fun row the boat spot. You know what I'm talking about when they had all the four legs.
Yeah.
That did get a slight reaction. But
Well,
yeah, the crowd
you
just
know what
not
I
into it.
you
Yeah.
know what I did like about this match was Gorilla goes, "Why don't you tell me why these guys are important?" Did you hear that? He says something like tell me about these guys, and then Jim Ross gives a background. He talked about the Midnight Express. They really get into like NWA, WCW history, which was very surprising, especially back then. And Gorilla asks a lot of leading questions to get, and he says like, sounds like these guys are really tough. Like Gorilla acts like he's never seen these guys before, but he's doing that for the viewers because he has to assume a lot of these little kids have never seen these fucking four losers, right? So he's getting them over to the audience, and in AEW they don't do that, man.
No, okay. So here's the thing with AEW. Jim Ross does do that.
I know, but they don't
But
follow through like
nobody, yeah, they don't really fucking get. But like, you know what? I like Excalibur as a commentator, but he doesn't like pick up the cues well. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Jim
Yeah,
Ross,
but
because
but Jim
Gorilla
Ross
knows.
does do that. If you notice, if you watch the earlier ones where he's with Excalibur, he does do that. He goes, "Who is this guy? What is like?" He does leave these leading questions, and like Excalibur just fucking like he just drops the ball and shit like that. You know?
Because having this match on this show is very much an AEW like Shibata or whatever
Yeah,
shows up out
yeah,
of nowhere. We're supposed
absolutely.
to know who they
Like,
are.
it's like a fucking CMLL match.
Yeah, it's like you're just shoving this match with four guys no one really cares about that have a feud in another company on this show. We're here to see fucking Bret Hart and Lex Luger and Razor, and now these four. But the way Gorilla worked, because I can tell by Gorilla knows when they get no pop. I've got to tell the audience why you should be caring about this match. And he really does a good job. And that's the thing about WWF is like they know when you don't know who a fucking person is and they educate you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not enough, as you
No,
will
no one cares.
you will hear some boring chants as Dr. Tom and Ricky Morton they reset in the ring. Jimmy Del Rey he does his Nancy Gigolo dance and he does a springboard moonsault to the outside. I am really starting to like Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. You know that I hated him when I was a kid, but I fucking love him now. He's just like the perfect heel wrestler. He looks disgusting, but he can wrestle his ass. Um,
Jimmy Del
and
Rey,
distract the referee. He misses the Ricky Morton cover that Dr. Tom breaks up as the match starts breaking down when everybody's in the ring together at once. Mayhem. Ricky Morton knocks Jim Cornette off the apron, but Jim Cornette is able to toss Del Rey the tennis racket, and Del Rey comes off the top and nails Gibson with the racket to reverse the cover for the Heavenly Bodies to win the titles. Even though this match hardly got any reactions, I really liked this match. I thought this was a good match.
I let me tell you something. This was the most WCW match we've ever seen on WWF show to this point. Like
Yeah,
this
I see
was
that.
an NWA WCW tag match. I am shocked that Vince allowed this on a major pay-per-view because man, you know what? I would say to Jim Cornette, if you think Vince didn't like you or didn't believe in you, the fact he put this shit on in '93, he had some type of faith in you, man.
Yeah, yeah. And even if it's like, hey, I'm gonna do you a solid and let one of your fucking titles be on my show, it's still like he has to be leaving it somewhat to even allow that, right?
It feels like a match from another company. Even
Yeah.
the WCW Invasion matches didn't feel so much like this feels like another company has shown up and now they're having a show in the middle of the WWF show. It does not feel anything like a WWF match. There is no like we're gonna do WWF style. They're just completely doing Southern wrestling, and Boston hates it. But I like the match too.
Uh-huh.
I like the match too. It was very WCW, but I think we can tell why they don't do this again because the crowd, even though I liked it, the crowd was not having it.
No, they were not. But I'm telling you, I'm really digging this Jimmy Del Rey, man. I like it.
Well, he's around for a little bit longer, so.
Yeah. So they recap they do a recap of Doink the Clown annoying Bam Bam Bigelow with his four doinks. And then you get a promo where you see Bastion Booger and the Samoans, the head shrinkers, eating this fucking chicken in a nasty way as Todd Pettengill tries to interview Bam Bam Bigelow. This segment is disgusting as they're spitting food out everywhere, and Luna Vachon is like humping something.
This 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 is where the show falls off a cliff and it never recovers. I'm gonna say this right now. This is the worst match we've seen from WWF so far. and it might be one of the worst matches in history. It's right up there with all the Abdullah the Butcher shit we've seen. And
No,
it
it's not as bad as that. No, no, no. It's not as
no, no,
bad as that.
that match is still bad, but this is how people always you like back in the day these southern WWF is circus. Everyone
Yeah.
goes circus freak. We're real wrestling. Everyone says that, right? This
This
is
is
what
it.
this
This
is
is
what
it.
this is what
Yeah.
everyone had in their minds. This is what
Yes.
if you were an NWA fan back in the day, this is what you thought every WWF match was.
Yeah.
This is an abomination.
I can see you being a hardcore like NWA wrestling fan, and you watch this one match and being like, you see what I'm like you're justified. You could just watch this one match, and you can that justifies your hatred for WWF for the rest of your life. I could totally see that.
This match is an embarrassment.
I
It's
can't believe this is on a pay per view.
You know what though? All the
People
humor
pay
in
money
this match
for this.
is catered to
What?
make Vince laugh. This is what Vince. This is what if Vince were a sketch show. This was what the humor would be like. He
Of
thinks this
course,
is
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
This match is completely catered to Vince's, and it's his weird fucking sense of humor. Um, it's an abomination. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, man. This did Matt Bourne already leave? When does he leave? Can you look that up real quick?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me look it up.
Is that
And
I
this
got
is like, I can't believe. Remember, people are paying money for this, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and the
can you
crowd.
imagine? This is a pay per view. This is like, okay, if you put this on, let's say, Superstars, like I think it's okay, right? Like I'm like, all right, if you put it on like fucking what do you call it, like Superstars on Saturday, I think it's fair, right? Would you say it's like it's okay, right?
Yeah, this
But this is
match.
not a fucking pay per view. People are paying money for it. It's crazy.
When's the date he got fired from WWF? Matt Bourne. Curious. I make this
Um,
next point.
it was his final TV appearance in WWF for that era was on the December 27th, 1993 episode of Raw. So this is still Doink the Clown. I mean, this
Wow,
is
he's
still Matt Bourne.
still there. Okay, let me tell you something. This killed the character. So the crowd, this match starts, and I think the crowd thought we're gonna get 4 wrestlers like Matt Bourne is doing, and that's kind of what my friends thought, right? And watching the show, and people they like Doink. Like Doink has turned face because the crowd just likes him.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
they believe in him now. Like they totally believe in. And here's the I don't remember. The crowd in this match is chanting, "We want Doink." Like
Yeah, they do.
they want him.
Yes,
They
they
believe in
do.
him. You have something here. You've made Matt Bourne. You've done it. You've done it. This is the next Undertaker. This is the next Mankind. You've done it. You've done it. You have a top guy. And this match kills that character dead. Kills the character dead because you think you're going to get 4 different doinks. You think you're going to see a crazy fucking angle, like a really fun, crazy sports entertainment match. No one's expecting a fucking 5-star classic. They're expecting like and then you get the 4 worst wrestlers in the world. Does Doink even come out? Does he come out?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't
does
even.
not
Yes,
even come
he
out.
doesn't even come out.
Yeah.
And they
We'll
kill
get into who it is. So it's the match number 4. It is Bam Bam Bigelow with Luna Vachon, Bastion Booger, and the Head Shrinkers with Alpha. Everyone has little pieces of fucking chicken all over their face. It's fucking thing. Bastion Booger's holding up a fucking happy eating chicken. All the fucking Head Shrinkers have little pieces of chicken in their face. It's grossing me out personally. Was it grossing you out?
Yeah, it was not appealing. Nothing
Yeah,
about this match was appealing.
yeah.
But this was like, why do they all need to do this?
Yeah. And just when I think like, oh, I can't even look at that, we get Doink's music hits, it stops, and all of a sudden it's the fucking bushwhackers with Doink makeup and a wig. Then it's Men on a Mission. Remember, they're still in their gear. The only thing is they have Doink face paint and a Doink wig on. They're all Doinks, and then Oscar, who is the rapper from Men on a Mission, he starts rapping. It's really bad, and people start chanting "Whoop there it is." It was like, oh, this is the first time I'm hearing the "Whoop there it is" chant in WWF. People before this match begin, they start chanting "We want Doink."
Yeah, because they want to see Doink. You advertise
yeah,
Doink.
yeah. We want Doink. Nobody's wrestling either. They're just standing around the beginning. I don't know what they're waiting for.
If you know what, I think if you like had Doink come out with like the Bushwhackers and like Steve Kern as Doink, right? If you, I think people would have been fine with it. But it's the fact that he's not there,
Yeah.
and you realize you're not, because the possibility, like Bastion Booger was a good worker in Stampede. There's Bam Bam's a great, and it's the bloodline. Fucking um, there's a possibility this could be a good match.
Yeah.
And
Or
when
fun, at least entertaining.
yeah,
Right?
like this could be, and then when you realize he's not coming out, and they're like really like they're literally like everything they stayed away from with Doink, everything people were afraid of, Vince is like going overboard with it. It's just like it's so deflating. You know what, dude? When I watched this match, I was like, I'm glad I stopped watching. They didn't deserve my time in '93. Like watching this match, I'm like, I'm glad that I didn't watch. So how sometimes people be like, if you don't support AEW, you're not a real wrestling fan. If you don't
Yeah.
support TNA, no. You need to earn my support. I don't have. I'm gonna be dead one day. I'm gonna be in the ground for millions of years. I'm gonna have more time dead than alive. All right. You don't deserve 5 years of my fucking life putting on this shit. You don't deserve.
Yeah.
All right. You had to earn it, and when you earned it, it was the best era we've ever had. So the same thing with AEW and TNA and even WWF at some points. You don't get my time just because you have wrestling on TV. You gotta fucking earn it, and they don't earn it tonight.
No, this is awful. So Bastion Booger and Luke Wacker, they start actually they finally start the match with Luke biting Bastion Booger in the ass.
With the Dorns makeup.
Yeah, point makeup.
By the way, I think this also killed the Bushwhackers too.
The
Because it's the
Doink
first time they're not
makeup,
getting any reaction of all the
the
shows we've
Doink
seen.
makeup will be on Bastion Booger's. So Samu gets in there and he this part's so stupid. So okay, so Samu gets in and then all the doinks, they one by one, they have like a balloon. So Samu bites and pops their balloon because you know what? He's a bad guy. He doesn't want anybody having fun. And then he bites another balloon and pops it. And he bites another, and he goes to the third balloon. Like Mo offers him the third balloon to pop it, and when he goes to bite it, it's filled with water. And this distraction allows Luke to roll up Samu for the first elimination.
Where was the poor bloodline? This is the lowest. Dude, they should do this. They should do this to they should do this to Solo and the other guy.
Time on time that they should do this.
You should have Kevin. This is if you want to ruin WWF, this is WWE right now. That's what you do. You have Randy Orton and Kevin because it's Randy and Kevin versus the Bloodline at Backlash. You have them come out dressed like Doink and you redo this match.
So here's the thing, Ray. Even though this sounds stupid and we're fucking like shitting on it, the crowd did like it because they started a whoop there it is chant right after this. I swear.
I know, but they
Go back
still
and
want
watch.
Doink. They still want Doink. They want.
Yeah.
They're hoping. They're hoping that the real Doink will come out and save the day.
Yeah. So then Bastion Booger's in there with one of the bushwhackers, and he hits his Batcave finishing move where he sits on your face on one of the whackers, and it's a cover. But he gets up from the cover because he wants to go eat a banana. I'm not making this up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the pinfall, the ref's counting, and he gets up. He's like, I want to eat a banana. So he goes and eats this banana, but then he goes, I got my banana, let me go back and hit my back cave again. But this distraction, this hesitation has allowed the Doinks to pull the bushwhacker away. And then Bastion Booger falls to his knees, but he somehow grabs his ass in pain. And then Mabel drops a leg drop on Bastion Booger for the second elimination. Crowd chants "Whoop!" There it is again, and Junior
maybe that's the equivalent of chanting AEW WWF show. Maybe they're actually saying we want to be at a WCW show instead of this shit.
Even Junior on commentary was like, "Yes, whoop! There it is."
I wonder. We should look at. I wonder. Do you think they were chanting "Whoop! There it is" at sporting events? Like that was like a common thing everywhere back then.
You know what? I was like I think it may have been because I was going to mention like every single time they chant "Whoop! There it is," but like it's happening at so many pay-per-views. The next one, I just like stop. I'm like, I just can't. It's just
I
so it
think
happens so
I
much.
because that was a popular. I mean, I remember I would summon whoop. There it is. Like it would be in my head as
So fucking popular. I think that that has to go down as one of the most popular songs of the time.
it gets in. It gets in you. They should, dude. They should bring back the chants for WWF. Imagine like, whoop. There it is.
Yeah, and like I noticed the crowd, like whenever something fun happened, they just like got it. The whoop, there it is. Like, even in WCW, if one of the good guys start firing back, that's they just start chanting that. It's very
Dude,
weird.
dude, I would actually. We need to. I would rather that chant than what.
Yeah, yeah. Whoop, there it is. Whoop,
Whoop,
there it is. Whoop. They should have chanted that for Cody when
dude, they
Cody
should.
beat Roman Reigns.
This is my challenge to Tony Khan. Bring that back in AEW.
Yeah. You know what? This match is so bad. It's kind of comical. You know, I mean, like I think people should watch this. Just so bad. So then
It
after
is. You know
that,
they're by the way. You know they're making the four Doinks figures.
you
The show.
mean you mean like the Bushwhackers and Men on the Mission?
Yeah, they're making that. They showed it off at WrestleMania this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Or doing? I gotta see this. This that's not a terrible idea.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I definitely think like that's a good box set. You could definitely charge like a higher fee to like the.
Dude, that's telling me that there's like people who actually. I mean, I guess if you were a little kid watching this, you probably really enjoyed it.
Well, you know what? I think Doink figures sell really well. I like buying Doink figures. I think
I have a Doink figure. Yeah, I like Doink.
and I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, we need to make some more Doink figures, and like, we'll make the Bushwhackers and the Men of the Mission.
Yeah, I can see that. They were like, yeah, we need like Doink. Doink is a good seller. We kind of fucking want to make more money. I can see that.
I'm telling you right now, man. I'm telling you, and I know most fans would be like, no. I'm telling you, Doink should be a legacy thing, like the Flash and the Green Lantern, that's passed on from wrestler to wrestler. That is the gimmick that you could do, and I'm telling you, who should be the first Doink? Dragunov. Dragunov should be Doink.
I can see Dragonoff being Doink. I think that would be pretty good.
I think that
I would like to see that.
people would be like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm telling you, within the first night, Twitter is gonna fucking shit all over it, right?
Mhm.
But he's gonna be one of the top guys in a year if they make him Doink. I'm telling you, or
I
Finn
think
Balor.
that
Finn
could
Balor
work.
would have been a good
You know,
Doink.
if they bring in this new the Wyatt family 6 or whatever the fuck, they should put a Doink in it. It would be fucking awesome.
I'm Doink. Doink is like the great thing about Doink is that it could be something that you just carry on from generation to generation.
Yeah, you know what? It's like the New Japan's Tiger Mans.
Yeah,
You
and
know, you
I'll
just have
I'll die on
somebody.
this hill. I'll
Yeah,
die.
like there's been like 4 guys who play Tiger Mans, and they do it
Yeah,
because they can make action figures, they could sell T-shirts and stuff. They're just like, dude, and you get somebody who's like not popular, you put them on their fucking mask, you know, like.
but also the key to Doink is
No,
that
like TNT has this too. They have fucking Suicide. They do it with Suicide. Why can't fucking WWF have something like this?
but the key with Doink, it's not going to work unless it has to be a good wrestler. It has to be someone you have to like get the Timothy Thatchers and the Dragoviches and the Finn Balors of the world have to be Doinks.
Do
You
you know?
can't.
I think they should even bring it back. Wang. There's like these 2 Asian wrestlers in WWF in NXT right now that they're fucking doing nothing, and they have no personality except that
But
they're Asian.
you
Just fucking put
know,
the mask on them, Wang.
instead
What?
of the Wyatt family, Doink. So Dragunov becomes Doink, and then he takes these gimmicks that people thought were shitty in the '90s, and he gives them to NXT wrestlers or main roster wrestlers going nowhere. So like Cedric Alexander becomes TJ Hopper and stuff. Like
No, you know what they should do, but they should reimagine it to be better. You know that guy Fantasia?
yeah, that.
They should totally redo that, right?
So you know, this is I think this would have worked. So remember they wanted FTR to dress up like clowns.
Yeah.
So the gimmick was like, and Bruce Prichard explained to them. He goes like, you guys are gonna dress up like buffoons, but you're gonna. The whole angle is like someone's gonna say to these guys, you guys need to be more entertaining. You guys are not entertaining, and so they go overboard. They go overboard with it. Like they become clowns and they have flashing lights. Like you want entertaining, here's your entertaining. but you're still ass kickers in the ring. You don't fucking lose. You go on a winning streak. And like, oh, you want us to be entertaining, right? You want us to fit in WWF. Here's like makeup and flashing lights. I think that would have worked, but you have to turn him into Doink. If you turn FTR into Doinks, it works.
I'm looking at the Bushwhacker figures. They're actually just Bushwhacker Elite figures, but they come with the additional Doink head you can switch.
Oh, see, that's even better.
That's
even
still
better.
great, though. That's still great. I think that's a great
I
idea.
might actually buy them. I'm dead fucking serious.
All right, so then this match is going to progress. It gets even funnier. Fatu's in there with one of the Bushwhackers, and he offers the Whacker some chicken. And before the Whacker can take the chicken, he cheap shots him, and then he hits him with it. At this point, I realize it's a turkey, not a chicken, but he hits him with a turkey. Then Mo gets on a scooter, and he starts riding a scooter in the ring, which is just covered with food. There's wet spots everywhere. This ring is a fucking mess, right? And Fatu's just watching this guy fucking riding a scooter. So Fatu finally splashes Mo. But instead of going for the cover, he starts looking for a banana peel for some reason. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he turns around, and then he faces this moment, this hesitation of him finding looking for a fucking banana peel allows the Bushwhacker to get one of Doink's bucket. And he turns around and faces the Doink with a bucket. And he's like, no, don't throw water at me. And the Bushwhacker is like, oh, I'm going to throw water at him. I'm going to throw water at him. And then he throws the bucket like it's got water, but no water comes out. And this causes Fatu to slip on the same fucking banana peel that he had brought into the ring. And Bushwhacker covers him for the third elimination. This is so fucking stupid. It's fucking amazing.
It's horrendous.
It's horrendous.
It's horrendous. It is like something. I feel like if you pitch this match as a writer in WWE, you should be fired.
Yeah, this sounds like. Yeah, it sounds so funny. Like it just sounds ridiculous. So then Bam Bam Bigelow comes in, and this is where it actually looks like a real match, where he starts cleaning house, and then Mabel comes in, and you got these two fucking behemoths facing off each other, and then we get another whoop there it is chant. We the third whoop there it is chant in this match. People love this fucking match, right? And I get it.
I think they just love chanting. I don't think they love the match.
Oh. So then Bam Bam Bigelow, he gets distracted when Butch throws food on Luna Vachon, who's his girlfriend. And then the Men on a Mission, they double splash him. And then everybody dog piles on top of Bam Bam Bigelow to win the match. I couldn't believe this match got more of a reaction than the Rock and Roll Express. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, I think the reason I got a reaction was Doink is over, and they're waiting to see Doink.
Yeah, but that,
I know, I've known for years that the four people are not. But I remember, I don't know if this was like the Mandela effect. I thought Doink was at ringside the entire match. He's not there at all. He doesn't even appear on the video screen, and is like, here's some Doinks. Like, he's just not there.
I mean, this was a letdown because, like you said, like when I was a kid, I was like, how are they gonna do 4 Doinks?
Do you think he was already done with the company, and that's why they did this?
I think more the other way around, because when I watched his Dark Side, he was getting fucked up all the time.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you think maybe they had another plan where it would have been like Doinks, like legit 4 Doinks, and then when he just kept fucking up, they were like, just put out the Bushwhackers and Men on a Mission?
Yeah, like like when you watch the Dark Side, they talk about him like he was missing shows, dude. Like he wouldn't arrive to like house shows and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah.
Like he became super unreliable.
Basically. Yeah, so maybe they were just like, fuck. But let me tell you something, man. He was over. I think if he walked out, I kind of now, because I've never really seen any of these. I want to watch a Superstars or a Raw from November '93, because I thought like he left in August of '93. I didn't realize he stayed, and I want to see what type of pop he gets. I'm kind of curious to see like the reaction he gets when he walks out.
I don't even think he was here because at this show, because so Bam Bam Bigelow's leaving, so Doink finally appears on the Tron, and he starts mocking Bam Bam Bigelow with bad jokes. That could have been pre-recorded, so I don't even think he was invited. I think he might have missed so many shows. They were just like, you know what, just fucking stay home, bro. We don't need you here. You
Yeah.
know. I think that's probably could have happened. Yeah. So don't do drugs, kids. You know.
And if you do drugs, don't watch this match because you'll be.
Well, I figure if you're gonna do drugs, you should watch this, man. You'll be laughing your
This
ass off.
was an abomination.
Yeah, this
The
might.
worst thing
That
I've ever
you're right.
seen.
I think you're right. This might be the worst WWF match we've seen at this point. Yeah.
Yes, it's one of the worst pay-per-view matches of all time.
Yeah. So Todd Pettingale, he's with the Foreign Fanatics, who's also with Johnny Polo, and Jim Cornette starts cutting a promo about eliminating each member of the All Americans. They represent mind, body, and soul of America. We're going to destroy them. Very good promo by Jim Cornette. We're going to our final match: the All Americans versus the Foreign Fanatics. Ludwig Borga, Jacques of the Quebecers with Johnny Polo, Crush and Yokozuna come out with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji. Taker comes out with Paul Bearer, the Steiner brothers, and Lex Luger. And Taker and Yoko, very early, they just face off, and the crowd is loving it. But then I think it's like somebody, it might have been Lex Luger, he just yanks Taker by the hair back. But it was a cool face off.
It's over, brother.
Yeah, Scott and Jacques, they start, but Jacques kind of pussies around and he tags in Yokozuna, who goes in there with Rick Steiner. And Rick, he is able to tackle Yokozuna out the ring. A bunch of shoulder tackles.
I was impressed they let him do that.
Yeah. He like Yokozuna bumped really hard for him. But once he is kind of isolated to the Foreign Fanatics corner, they fucking just work on him, and Borga tosses Rick out, who crashes right into a cameraman. And then, but Rick comes right back in and starts going back to the attack. And Rick gets up. He dives onto Ludwig Borga from the top turnbuckle, but I think Borga was supposed to like catch him and turn it into like a belly to belly suplex or something, but it looks bad. Like they kind of fuck it up. But Borga still gets a pinfall on Rick Steiner for the first elimination.
Well, my voice cracked. Yeah, I kind of got bummed that Rick Steiner was eliminated so fast. I really wanted to see more great Steiner shit on pay-per-view with these guys, and they didn't really do it. But yeah, I was kind of a little bummed. But someone's got to get eliminated first, and might as well be Rick.
Yeah. So Scott comes in and he's in there with Jacques, and then Scott gorilla presses him and throws him into Crush, who catches Jacques and then sets him down gently. And Jacques mocks Scott Steiner. This was a fun little spot. And during this spot, Junior notes that Savage, he's back. He's back in the arena.
Oh yeah, he gets a huge pop.
Yeah, and then Savage does show up in the trying to come down the aisleway, and as Crush is gorilla pressing Scott, and then Scott faces Randy Savage, and then he gorilla presses Scott Steiner down to the floor. It was crazy. Then Crush beats on Scott Steiner some more as Randy Savage makes his way back towards the ring after the officials try to get him out. He's back again, and Crush this time is super distracted, which allows Scott Steiner to drop kick Crush over the top rope, and then Crush decides, you know what, F this, and he runs down and he starts battling with Randy Savage, and the ref counts Crush out.
Dude, Randy Savage's intensity was fucking incredible. Dude, he gave 110% to
everything he did, man.
Everything he did.
Even commentary.
Nobody could touch him. In the ring. What does he say on the microphone? Even on commentary. That's Randy Savage, not CM.
Exactly. Meanwhile, while this is happening, the Foreign Fanatics have been beating on Scott the whole time while the referee was counting out Crush. Scott is finally able to tag in Lex Luger, and Lex drops a second turnbuckle elbow on Jacques for the third elimination. But then Yoko comes in, and he drops a leg drop on Scott Steiner for the fourth elimination. So there's only 4 men left. Yokozuna now faces off with Lex Luger, and they start slapping each other. Bam, bam. They're trying to emulate New Japan Strong Style. But don't they know this is only reserved for Eddie Kingston in America? You don't do that spot, brother. Taker finally tags in, and he faces off with Yokozuna, and the crowd is going nuts. This is the money match. The Undertaker versus Yokozuna.
When Undertaker gets in that ring, the crowd explodes.
This should have been the fucking WrestleMania main event.
Should have been something. I mean, it does become a pretty famous match. We'll get to
Yeah.
it.
Yokozuna, he bonsais Taker, and he decides, you know what, I'm gonna bonsai drop this motherfucker again. But then Taker sits up and Yokozuna falls flat on his ass. And Taker continues the assault as they go outside. And Yokozuna slams Taker's head into the steps, which has no effect. Taker just popped right back up. And you see, for the first time, the fear in Yokozuna's eye as Taker grabs him and then returns the favor, but both men get countered. So now it's only down to Lex Luger and Ludwig Borga. These men are they're left and they start fighting, and both men go down as Jim Cornette distracts the referee. Mr. Fuji hands Ludwig Borga the bucket, the salt bucket, and then Borga uses it on Lex Luger. And Earl Hebner almost sees this, but he has to act like he doesn't see it. But Lex Luger is still able to kick out of the finish, and they continue fighting. And then Lex Luger hits his forearm and just pins Ludwig Borga out of nowhere. As soon as he wins, his music starts playing, but then it cuts short. Snow starts falling from the sky, and then the Christmas music starts, and then Santa Claus comes into the ring. He joins Lex Luger, and that's it. I was like, what? This is how the show ends?
I think it went longer on the original. I hope it went long on the original feed, but yeah, they just cut it.
That was weird.
I think because remember Santa Claus came out to see Brett last year.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
I think they were trying to make this like a tradition, like Santa Claus comes out to kick off Christmas with the good guy.
to
But
fuck with people.
thank God they didn't keep it going. Scott Steiner had an incredible little sequence. Man, if they got behind Scott Steiner back then, what they could have what could have been. Guy, it's another guy like man, when he was on top of the game, he was on top. He was fucking amazing. And Undertaker Yokozuna was great, but other than that, this match was just it was okay. It was alright.
Yeah, this was a fucking lackluster match. This is not.
And
You
just
know what?
for example, the Lex is not the guy.
Yeah, like when I watched this match when I was a kid. This is the only match I watched when I was a kid. I
Right?
I don't know. I thought it was all right, but now watching it was really bad. It just wasn't good. I would say this was not a good pay per view. I think if you want to see really cheesy, like campy wrestling, some people are really into camp, right?
Yeah.
And if you're into that camp shit, you should watch the Four Doinks match because it's just like it shows how silly wrestling can be. But other than that, I would say you don't need to watch this.
It's just another example, and we've seen this throughout the year since the Vince is he's just and maybe it was the trial, maybe it was, but he's just not in touch. He's just not pushing the right people, and it's not a good show. It's not the company's not in a good place. It's it stinks, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. You could have fond memories of this era, but you're wrong. And I was right to not be watching wrestling again. I haven't watched Dynamite the last few weeks, right? Since I haven't watched any episodes since they announced they're going to show the Punk footage. And the rings are going down, but it's like you don't deserve my viewership. Like this is more fun. Like we're recording right now. The whole time we're recording, Dynamite's been on the air, and I've checked what's going on. Nothing good has been going on. So like it's like you don't deserve to be seen just because you're on the air. You have to earn my viewership.
And I would say you are right, and this is definitely the low point of WWE.
I mean, next year, '95, they stay in the low point.
Really? All right.
I think.
I don't know how much lower it could go than the fucking Doink match, but
wait till you see King of the Ring '95, but that's a few months from now. All right. Then we're in May. The next 4 weeks, we got next week Starrcade '93, Vader versus Flair. 2 weeks, Royal Rumble '94, Undertaker versus Yokozuna. 3 weeks, Super Brawl 4, and that is Flair versus Vader in a steel cage. And then in 4 weeks, WrestleMania 10, Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. What are you excited for?
Royal Rumble. What about you?
The Ric Flair Vader match. I know it's good. People say it's the best main event in Starrcade history. At this point, it could be a mediocre match, and it'll probably still be the best main event in Starrcade history because they've all been pretty bad. So I'm excited to see that match next week. People say it's a good Starrcade. From what I remember, the rest of the card is not very interesting, but I mean, we'll see what happens when we watch it next week.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
All right, guys, that's the show. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe to us on iTunes, leave a review, follow the podcast, Goose's Wrestling Pod on Instagram. Follow me, Ray Goots, on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Andrew Lee, Andrew Son of Lee, on Instagram, and also TikTok before they ban it. Ray Goots Comedy on there. So that's the podcast. We'll see you next week for the end of 1990. We're finally going to be out of 93, and we're headed towards Hulkamania returning to save us. But next week we got one more show in 93. We've got Starrcade 93. We'll see you then. Thanks, Brew.